You ever wonder if being kind actually matters? If anyone notices when you help someone? Maybe you've given when you had nothing to spare. Maybe you've helped when it was inconvenient. And maybe you wondered if good deeds really come back, or if that's just something people say to make you feel better about being taken advantage of. Here's what Maria Rodriguez discovered. Kindness without expecting return is the purest test of character. And sometimes, though not always, it comes back multiplied in ways you never imagined. This is the story of how a waitress with $100 and a homeless man with a secret changed each other's lives forever. Maria worked at Joe's Diner, a 24-hour truck stop where coffee was always hot and judgment was usually reserved for people who didn't tip. She'd been waitressing there 5 years, knew every regular by name, remembered their orders, asked about their kids. At 34, she was raising her 12-year-old daughter Sophia alone after her husband left them with nothing but debt and broken promises. Money was a constant battle. Not tight, non-existent. Between rent, utilities, Sophia's school supplies, and her car that broke down every other month, Maria lived paycheck to paycheck with absolutely nothing left over. Last month, she'd chosen between electricity and groceries. This month, it was Sophia's school trip or car insurance. These were her choices. One freezing November night around 2 a.m., a man walked into the diner looking rough, really rough. Dirt-stained clothes, torn jacket, overgrown beard, everything he owned stuffed in a backpack held together with duct tape. He sat at the counter, didn't make eye contact, and quietly asked Maria, "What's the cheapest thing on the menu?" Before Maria could answer, her manager Carl walked over, took one look at the man, and said loudly, "We don't serve your kind here. Get out." The man stood without arguing, without causing a scene, just headed for the door with his shoulders hunched, like someone used to being treated this way. Maria watched him go and felt something twist in her chest. She'd been one paycheck from homelessness herself. She knew how thin the line was between having a home and sleeping in your car. She knew what it felt like to be invisible, to be judged for circumstances you couldn't control. She made a decision that made absolutely no sense financially. Maria grabbed her coat, followed the man outside into the cold, and caught up with him in the parking lot. "Sir, wait!" He turned, wary. "I'm sorry about that. You deserve to eat with dignity. Let me get you something." "I don't have money," he said quietly. "I know. It's okay. My treat." She went to the takeout window, ordered a full meal, burger, fries, coffee, pie, and paid with 5 $20 bills. Her last $100. The money she'd been saving for Sophia's school trip, the money they'd been counting quarters for over 3 months. Gone in 5 minutes for a stranger she'd never see again. Carl saw her through the window, shook his head in disgust. "You're a fool, Maria. That's drug money you just wasted." Maria didn't respond. She brought the food to the man, who stared at the bag like she'd handed him gold. "I can't accept this. This is too much." "Everyone deserves a hot meal and to be treated like a human being," Maria said. "No strings attached, no judgment, just eat, okay?" The man's eyes filled with tears. "What's your name?" "Maria Rodriguez." "Thank you, Maria Rodriguez. This means more than you know." He walked away into the night, and Maria drove home wondering how she'd explain to Sophia that the school trip wasn't happening. When she told her daughter the truth, Sophia surprised her. "Mom, you did the right thing. That man needed food more than I need a field trip. We'll find another way." Maria hugged her daughter and thought, "I'm raising her right, at least." 3 days passed. Life returned to normal, which meant struggling, working double shifts, and praying nothing else broke. Then, a man in an expensive suit walked into the diner during Maria's shift, asked for her by name, and handed her an envelope. "Maria Rodriguez? I'm David Chen, attorney for Richard Cole. He asked me to deliver this personally. Maria opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a check for $100,000 and a handwritten note. Dear Maria, my name is Richard Cole. 3 weeks ago, I walked into your diner as a homeless man. I've spent the last month testing humanity, going to restaurants, businesses, and public places dressed as someone society ignores to see how people would treat me when I had nothing. 47 establishments refused me service. Your diner was number 48. Your manager threw me out, but you followed me outside and gave me your last $100 for a meal with no expectation of return. I later learned that that money was for your daughter's school trip. You chose a stranger's dignity over your child's happiness. That's not foolishness. That's the rarest form of humanity. This check isn't charity. It's a thank you for reminding me that goodness still exists. Use it wisely. You've already proven you will. Richard Cole. Maria stood there crying while her co-workers crowded around, Carl included, all stunned into silence. That night, Maria went home and showed Sophia the check, the note, everything. They cried together, laughed together, and Sophia said, "Mom, you told me the right thing always comes back. I believed you, but now I know." Maria paid off all their debt, put Sophia's college fund in the bank, donated $20,000 to the local homeless shelter in Richard Cole's name, and kept working at the diner because she genuinely loved it. When people asked why she didn't quit, she said, "Because I'm not here for the money. I'm here for the people." Richard Cole became a regular at the diner. Not the billionaire version, just Richard, a man who drank coffee, tipped well, and treated everyone with kindness. He and Maria became friends. One day she asked, "Why did you do it, the test?" "Because I needed to know if I'd lost faith in humanity for a good reason or a bad one. I'd been burned so many times by people who only saw my money. I wanted to see what people were like when I had nothing to offer." 47 people failed. You passed. Not because you're rich, because you're good. And that's worth more than anything I own. Maria learned something that night. She gave away her last $100. Kindness isn't an investment expecting return. It's a reflection of who you are when nobody's watching, when there's no reward, when it costs you something you can't afford to lose. The fact that it came back multiplied was beautiful, but it wasn't the point. The point was she'd seen a hungry human being and couldn't walk past. That was the whole story. 2 years later, Maria still works at Joe's Diner. Sophia's in a good school, their bills are paid, and Maria sleeps without that constant weight of panic. But when people say, "You're so lucky that billionaire walked in," Maria corrects them. Luck didn't make me give him my last $100. Character did. The money coming back was a gift, but the real reward was knowing I did the right thing even when it cost me everything. Your kindness isn't wasted just because nobody applauds. The world is testing your humanity every single day. In how you treat the cashier, the homeless person, the stranger who needs help. You don't pass because of what you give. You pass because of who you are when giving costs you something. Maria's $100 came back multiplied. Yours might not, but that's not why you give. You give because kindness without audience is the only kindness that counts.